Sometimes, it starts with just a little more tiredness than usual, or a cough that isn't really a cough. Many seniors dismiss these signs as just aging, but in truth, they could be early signs of something more dangerous: pneumonia. And when pneumonia shows up in older adults, it often does so quietly until it's serious. Hello and welcome back to Golden Aging Health. Today, I'll share with you 5 early warning signs of pneumonia that seniors should never ignore. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to spot the signs and symptoms of pneumonia before it becomes too serious, and what steps you can take to protect yourself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, so you'll always stay updated with the best senior health tips from my channel. What is pneumonia? So, what exactly is pneumonia? It's an infection that inflames the air sacs in one or both lungs, causing them to fill with fluid or pus. This infection can be caused by bacteria, viruses, or even fungi. For most people, it starts as a cold or flu-like illness, but in older adults, it can escalate quickly and become life-threatening. Pneumonia is especially dangerous for seniors because their immune systems may not fight infections as effectively as they once did. As the infection spreads, it can make it harder to breathe, depriving the body of the oxygen it needs. Without timely treatment, pneumonia can lead to severe complications, including respiratory failure or even death. Sometimes, pneumonia can start with something as simple as a subtle change in your breathing. Stay tuned, because this first sign is often overlooked, but it's crucial to spot early. Sign number 1. Persistent or worsening cough. Let's begin with one of the most common but often underestimated early warning signs of pneumonia: a nagging cough that sticks around or seems to intensify. Occasional throat clearing is normal, especially during allergy season or dry weather. But if you're over 60 and notice a cough that hangs on for days or begins to sound harsher, deeper, or more congested, it's time to pay attention. That may be your body signaling the onset of a lung infection. According to Harvard Health, many pneumonia cases start with mild upper respiratory symptoms. But instead of fading, they linger, often turning into wet or rattling coughs that may produce yellow, green, or rusty-colored phlegm. And here's the tricky part. In cases of walking pneumonia, which can appear milder, the cough might remain dry, with no mucus at all, making it easier to dismiss. The longer a pneumonia-related cough is ignored, the higher the risk of complications like breathing difficulty or even lung damage. Early detection gives your doctor a head start and keeps you out of the hospital. A friend of mine, Ellen, brushed off her symptoms as just allergies, but the cough kept waking her up at night. A chest x-ray showed pneumonia, and thankfully, she started treatment before things escalated. Have you ever ignored a cough that turned out to be more serious than expected? Share your story in the comments below. It could help someone else act faster. So, while a lingering cough might seem harmless at first, in seniors, it could be the first red flag of something far more serious. A sudden wave of exhaustion that feels different from everyday tiredness, and that's what we're about to explore next. Sign number 2. Sudden drop in energy or fatigue that feels different. It's normal to feel a bit slower as we age, but when that tiredness comes on suddenly, feels overwhelming, or just doesn't match your usual rhythm, it might be something more than just getting older. In older adults, one of the most under-recognized symptoms of pneumonia is a sharp drop in energy that doctors call unexplained fatigue. Unlike typical tiredness from activity or poor sleep, this kind of fatigue feels deeper, like your body is weighed down from the inside. The National Institute on Aging explains that seniors with pneumonia symptoms often report feeling drained, even before respiratory symptoms show up. That's because the body is working overtime to fight off an infection long before the cough or fever appears. You might find yourself sleeping more, skipping meals, or struggling to do simple things like dressing or making breakfast. This isn't laziness. It's your immune system in distress. This symptom is easy to ignore or misattribute, especially if you already have conditions like arthritis, diabetes, or sleep apnea. When your body suddenly hits the brakes for no clear reason, it's time to listen. And sometimes, what it's trying to tell you is that your lungs are in trouble. Up next, a subtle change in your breathing that can creep in without warning, and why it's one of the most dangerous signs of all. Sign number 3. Shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, even at rest. Have you ever felt like you just couldn't catch your breath, even while doing nothing at all? For older adults, shortness of breath that appears suddenly or worsens with light activity is a major warning sign of pneumonia. It's not just feeling winded after climbing stairs. This kind of breathlessness can show up while sitting still, eating, or getting dressed. According to the Mayo Clinic, when pneumonia develops, the tiny air sacs in your lungs, called alveoli, begin to fill with fluid or pus. That buildup makes it harder for oxygen to move into your bloodstream, leaving you gasping for air even when you're not exerting yourself. Sometimes this symptom is subtle at first. A slight struggle during a conversation, needing to pause more often when walking, or a tightness in your chest that feels unfamiliar. But it can escalate quickly, especially in people over 60 with pre-existing conditions like COPD, heart disease, or diabetes. One of my viewers, Richard, 65, from Florida, shared his story with me last winter. He said he began noticing he had to stop halfway while brushing his teeth because he felt out of breath. No fever, no cough, just a strange tightness in his chest. His daughter insisted he see a doctor, and an X-ray confirmed early-stage pneumonia. Had he waited a few more days, his oxygen levels could have dropped dangerously low. A 2022 review published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that over 65% of seniors hospitalized with pneumonia had reported shortness of breath as one of their first complaints even before a fever or cough appeared. Breathing issues aren't always loud or dramatic, but if you notice you're taking shallow breaths or needing more effort to breathe, especially if it feels new or sudden, that's your body sending an urgent message. When the lungs struggle, the rest of the body follows. And for seniors, even a small shift in breathing can signal a big problem. Can you recall a time when your breathing felt off and you weren't sure why? Share your story in the comments. Coming up, we'll reveal a surprising symptom that often shows up before the classic pneumonia signs, and it starts in your brain, not your lungs. Sign number 4. Sudden confusion or mental fog in seniors. It might surprise you, but one of the earliest signs of pneumonia in older adults doesn't begin in the lungs. It starts in the brain. Sudden confusion, forgetfulness, disorientation, or a change in alertness. These can all be neurological symptoms of pneumonia, especially in people over 65. In fact, mental changes are sometimes the first and only sign something is wrong. According to the National Institute on Aging, infections like pneumonia can trigger delirium in seniors, a temporary but serious condition where thinking becomes unclear, memory fades, or a person seems not quite themselves. In a widely cited 2017 case from a teaching hospital in Boston, an 82-year-old woman was rushed to the ER after her family noticed she was confused, irritable, and refusing to eat, yet had no cough, no fever, and normal oxygen levels. Doctors initially suspected early dementia or a mild stroke, but a chest X-ray revealed lower lobe pneumonia, completely asymptomatic in the lungs. The inflammation had triggered delirium as the only noticeable symptom. This case, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, sparked renewed discussion among geriatric specialists, as Dr. Sharon Inoue, a leading delirium researcher at Harvard Medical School, explained, "In seniors, the brain often becomes the first organ to show signs of stress even before the lungs. It forces us to rethink how we screen for infections in older patients." Thanks to the fast-thinking team and comprehensive diagnostic testing, the woman was treated promptly with IV antibiotics and returned to baseline within days. A 2020 study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society backs this up. Nearly 40% of seniors hospitalized for pneumonia had cognitive symptoms before any cough or fever appeared. When the mind starts to cloud unexpectedly, don't wait. It could be the first sign your body is fighting something serious, and pneumonia might be at the root. In our final section, we'll explore why a fever or even a drop in body temperature can be a late but critical clue of pneumonia in seniors. Sign number 5. Unusual fever or low body temperature in seniors with pneumonia. When we think of infections like pneumonia, we usually expect a high fever. But in older adults, the opposite can be just as dangerous and even more overlooked. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, seniors with pneumonia symptoms may not always spike a high temperature. In fact, some develop no fever at all. Others may experience an unexplained drop in body temperature below 97 degrees Fahrenheit, 36.1 degrees Celsius, which can signal a weakened immune response. This happens because as we age, our body's internal thermostat becomes less sensitive. The immune system also loses its ability to mount a strong inflammatory response. So instead of generating heat to fight infection, the body might underreact, leading to hypothermia, which can be just as serious. A 2019 report in Harvard Health Publishing emphasized that infections in older adults can often present with subtle or even paradoxical symptoms. Low body temperature in the presence of other warning signs should never be ignored. This is especially true if a low temperature is accompanied by other signs like fatigue, confusion, or shortness of breath. In that case, it's essential to seek medical care even if the person doesn't feel hot or look visibly ill. Do you remember a time when someone close to you felt off but didn't have a high fever? Tell us what happened. Real experiences like yours could save lives. Whether the temperature rises or falls, any shift from your body's baseline could be a quiet call for help. And when it comes to pneumonia, early detection is everything. Now, let's quickly go over the 5 early warning signs of pneumonia that seniors should never ignore. A persistent or worsening cough, especially one that changes in sound, produces mucus, or doesn't go away after a week. Sudden or unusual fatigue. That feels heavier or different than normal tiredness. Shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, even when you're resting or doing light activity. Sudden confusion or mental fog, especially in someone who was thinking clearly just days before. A fever that's missing, or a drop in body temperature, which may be a hidden sign of a weak immune response. These symptoms don't always appear together. Sometimes just one clue, a subtle shift in how you feel, breathe, or think might be the first sign that pneumonia is quietly setting in. But here's the good news. Early detection saves lives. With quick action, proper care, and regular health checkups, you can protect your lungs, avoid hospitalization, and stay in control of your health and independence. Looking to improve your lung health naturally after 60? Be sure to check out our video on Cleanse Your Lungs Naturally in 5 Ways After 60, No Drugs, Just Results. It's packed with simple, effective strategies to keep your lungs strong and healthy without relying on medications. Click the link below the description to watch. These easy-to-follow tips could make a big difference in your overall health. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone you care about. Stay informed, stay alert, and most importantly, stay strong.